Hi everyone, my name is Chelsea. Welcome to Little Mountain Ranch. I'm really happy to have you here with me on this very windy and stormy day. And as you can see, we are actually not at Little Mountain Ranch right now. So this property that we're on is our very first homestead. We moved away from this property just about 10 years ago now. My son and my mother-in-law bought it. I'm going to take you on a full entire tour of it and share with you what we did here on this property. I had been planning on doing this tour with you guys for a while now. I really wanted to show you kind of where the dream of Little Mountain Ranch began. When we checked the weather forecast this morning, well, this is the weather that we found on the weather forecast, except it's even supposed to get worse than this. We're supposed to have thunderstorms today and up to 15 millimeters of rain, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot for us right now since we haven't had any. So while we are very grateful for the rain, it's really unfortunate for this tour. It's going to be a little bit blustery. So I think we'll start right here with the garden spot that you can see and that little greenhouse down there. We'll take a walk down there in a second and I'll show you it in more detail. But this is the site of my first garden. Well, my first larger garden. This isn't the first house that Dan and I owned. We owned a house on, I think it was half an acre or so. That was the very first house that we ever bought. And that is where I grew my first garden. But it wasn't until this property that we started to get a little bit more serious into homesteading and gardening on a little bit of a larger scale. So I'm just going to point out to you where my garden was. Well, actually, you can kind of still see the outline of it. Let's go over here and hopefully we don't get blown away. I'm not sure if you can see where that darker green color is and how it goes all the way down and around there. It was kind of the shape of like a paisley swirl. Went all the way down here and then down to this rhubarb plant that's right down there. That rhubarb actually came from out at the ranch, as did a lot of the perennials that are down on this property now. It was an in-ground garden, and those raised beds that are there, they used to be up over behind this fence, and they were actually big long ones. But my son cut them down and made them smaller and put them in this pretty pattern over here. So we'll take a little peek over and see what they have growing down here. So they have some strawberries and chives in this bed, some more beautiful chives, some winter squash and summer squash, and some beautiful kale plants, a raspberry bed, and then over down here, this area right here is where I used to grow my potato patch. Look at that beautiful rhubarb. So gorgeous. And then this was my first ever greenhouse. So I'll show you all the way around the outside of it. These sliding doors we actually got from one of my aunties. And what we were trying to do with this is to make a passive solar greenhouse. So we insulated the north wall. This side is the south. So obviously they are not using this greenhouse this year, but we made these raised beds that you can see. And I grew my first tomatoes and peppers in this little greenhouse. I also had this silver paper that you can see tacked up all over this, and then I had some milk jugs all the way along here that were spray painted black. The idea was that those would absorb the heat of the sun during the day and then radiate it out during the night. And actually this little greenhouse grew pretty well. So we built this probably 15 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer. No, probably 15 years ago now. And it grew really well for me. I was always really proud of this little greenhouse. This property is just over 2 acres. And when we do a walk around, I'll show you the little pastures that I had set up for my goats. I raised meat birds here, goats, and I even had a milk cow on this property at one point. But the best feature of this property is that beautiful little lake that's down there. Okay, so up over here, we had pasture number 1. So this little pasture here with that little barn that's up there, we'll go up there in a second. But this is where I kept my goats. Look at how beautiful this little flower bed is. So some of these plants actually come from out on the ranch. This one right here, that one over there, the Pontatilla, wild geranium, so pretty. This fort over here was my kids' fort. We had a tree house built up in the tree, and now my grandson gets to play in there. So let's go over here and climb the fence. And this little building right here was my chicken coop. I have not been in here in years. Oh my goodness. Wow, the nostalgia. Look at that. I bought my first partridge Chanticleers, which are one of my favorite breeds of chickens. I still have them to this day, and moved them into this little chicken coop. This gives me such a warm feeling in my heart. I am gonna get so soaking wet out here. And then this is the little chicken run back over here. This little shed that's over on this side of the chicken coop, that's where I kept my goats. I had a potato patch in this little pen. I think we might have even had horses here at one point too. It's amazing what you can do on just a couple of acres. Might not be a bad idea for the kids to get a goat or two, although I think my son would majorly protest that. He does not like goats at all. Okay, and then I'll show you the house. So we actually built onto this house. The original house was the A-frame, and then this little section over here. And then Dan and I, as our family grew, when we first bought this house, we only had 2 kids. So as our family grew, we built this addition over on this side. So now Dan's mom lives in this side, and my son and his partner and their baby live in this side. And they own it together. My son's little shop over there. And then over on this side, it's not fenced anymore, but this was my second pasture over on this side. So 2 acres is quite a lot of space. It always kind of surprises me. My mother-in-law loves flowers, and her front porch just looks so beautiful. Look at her beautiful flowers. So pretty. One day I'd like to have flower gardens like this. Look at how beautiful. She just put this little garden in this spring. So pretty. And then she had this beautiful little arbor built here with this gorgeous little sitting area. The main door to the house used to be right there. And then, like I said, we built this addition. I love this so much. This is what I would love my deck to look like. Doesn't that look so peaceful? So then if we walk over to this side, over here with some beautiful hops vines growing over the fence. She has a little dog that likes to get into her flower beds. Look at this. Isn't this so pretty? And then another beautiful place to sit. Beautiful view of the front yard. So down over this way is one of my favorite parts of the property, and my daughter-in-law took me for a walk down here to show me what they were working on. They have a project that they have going on down here, and they are actually going to be starting their own YouTube channel. So as soon as they get that up, I will share that with you. And this is one of the projects that they want to share with everyone. They're trying to do it with entirely recycled materials. So from the main yard, you wouldn't even know that this little magical spot was here. So you come down around the corner to this beautiful spot. So what they have envisioned down here is to make a beautiful little sitting area with a campfire and flowers. So they've already started making the fire pit, and they found these little planters at the share shed. And then it goes up in over there, and then that's that second pasture that I showed you that's up above. But isn't that going to be lovely? And like I said, they're planning on doing this project with entirely recycled or free materials. And I love that so much. So as soon as they have their channel up and going, I'll make sure that I share it with you. They're wonderful people. You guys will really enjoy following along with them. I know that Emmy Jo, that's my daughter-in-law, has talked about having chickens and maybe a few ducks and things like that. She's also talked about having goats, but like I said, not Ben's favorite animal in the world, so we'll see how that goes. My kids come down here and swim all summer long. Isn't this just so beautiful down here? I'm so happy that it got to stay in the family. So I'm going to take you up to meet my mother-in-law because I know she wanted to say hi. Oh, one more pretty flower bed. Isn't that beautiful? So that's just on the other side of the arbor there. So pretty. Oh my gosh. One day when I'm not growing so much food, I definitely plan to grow more flowers. Hello.
Hello. Are you soaking wet?
Yes, my feet are absolutely saturated now.
Yes.
I'm not going in your house, don't worry. Thanks for letting me walk around your yard though.
Oh.
This is Georgia. This is my mother-in-law. She's very embarrassed that I came in her house.
Hello.
So your yard is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I really want an arbor like that.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful.
I know.
You'll have to keep your eye out for deals on those pretty chairs and stuff for me because I never shop.
I have been.
Because they're so beautiful. Yeah, I want to do something like that out on the front porch or the front deck of our house overlooking the fields. I would just love to sit out there. Pardon me, honey? So anyway, thank you very much for letting me wander around your yard.
Oh, you're welcome. I wish it wasn't pouring rain, but actually it's probably kind of refreshing.
And also made everything look really green, which is nice. It's been really brown here lately, so it looks really beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.